Hello and welcome to another episode of Why It Matters, the show that discusses and details important events that have been occurring in the video game industry, and we detail why it really matters. These are events that can impact our video game consoles, the way we game, and everything under the sun gaming for years to come. So sign in and get ready to comment down below as we explore the depths of why people are so upset at the Virtual Console's lack of being on the Nintendo Switch and people being forced to pay for Nintendo Online if they want to play online. So, one of the biggest complaints that people have stated is that there's no Virtual Console on the Nintendo Switch. Duh, that's what this video is about. But people have also pointed out that Nintendo didn't necessarily say that there wouldn't be a Virtual Console, just that it's under a different banner. So, it's not going to be under the Virtual Console banner, and Nintendo has specifically stated that it's currently. So, later there might be something else. I disagree with this because they have Nintendo Online classic NES games for those who buy online. But it leaves a question for why not any other system. So what about the SNES, the N64, the Sega Genesis, or the ever so desired Nintendo GameCube? Because a lot of people were really hoping to get their hands on GameCube games last generation with the Wii U. So that's a big thing that a lot of people are upset about. Paid online is a mistake, somebody had commented, because even though it is just $20, it will likely increase in price. This is how I feel personally. Xbox and PlayStation didn't used to be online, let alone cost as much as they used to cost. Like a brand new game for 1 year of online is around what it will cost you to be playing online for PlayStation and Xbox. I mean, you could get it cheaper on eBay, but you get my sentiments. Nintendo can and will likely increase the price of online eventually. Claiming $20 as a fair price for being given a 30-year-old set of games to be played online and being given the privilege to play online with hopefully better servers disregards how quickly Nintendo can increase that price for their online service. So it's not exactly a good defense. 8 accounts being supported for $35 a year means that it's less than $5 a year for each account. So yeah, that's a decent deal. However, if you don't play the few games online that they currently have, and you don't really want to play the free NES games, online or offline, then it's not really a good value, is it? No matter how cheap it is. Even if you're asking for $5 a year. If people don't want it and aren't going to use it, it's not a good value to them. People claim because Xbox and PlayStation charge about 3 times the amount of what Nintendo is charging for a single person for 1 year, it disregards how many games are given for free because, again, you're paying 3 times the amount. On Xbox alone, you are given 4 games a month, and if 3 or 4 of those games were games that you would have likely bought and wanted to play, then it becomes a great value because you get to keep the 360 games also, regardless of gold or not. It's very difficult to compare this rental service in terms of equality and fairness, but the long and the short of it is Nintendo is offering you a selection of games that will charge and change per month. And if you already played them on the Wii U or the Wii or the 3DS, then too bad and kick rocks because you're going to have to wait till next month to get a new selection of games. And if you're paying monthly, you're going to have to pay for that month to see what comes up. So yeah, that's kind of crappy. Servers need upgraded, and that's why a lot of people are pardoning the price of this, because of the quality and the disconnection issues. However, many PC games do not require for paid online, and they have decent servers. I always cite Diablo, the series, and people will say, oh, that's because of World of Warcraft. Oh, that's because of Overwatch. Right, okay, right. I get it. But again, they're still there, man. Nintendo makes quite a lot of money from their other services, what they have going on, the games, their consoles, various things. And again, they're not doing what Blizzard is doing and allowing for free online. It's just something to note. There it is. Even though we are given games, some people would like to choose their own games up front. So, like yeah, it's great that they're rolling out these games as a bonus for the online service, but we would rather be able to select and choose which games we want to buy instead of using them like a Netflix paid online service. And yes, you can play those games offline as well, so it's not just online NES games playing with other people, but will there be some type of point where you're going to be offline for so long and your Switch is going to demand that you reconnect to the internet to verify that you're still a member of online, that you're paying for online, and then disable those games that you want to play because you're offline and you can't connect? Is that something that is going to happen in the future with Nintendo Online? Xbox users and PlayStation users have this very issue. If you can't go online for a couple days, there's a lot of the time where those free games will no longer work. Nintendo also does not have a cross-buy program, so for those who have already bought these games that they're giving away for free online on the 3DS, eShop, yeah, many times they didn't cross over, especially in the last generation. 3DS didn't cross over with the Wii U, and currently on the Switch one, they definitely don't cross over because there's no VC. So if you already own the games that are being given out, like Zelda or Mario, once again, you're going to have to go ahead and kick rocks, because too bad, you're just not going to have a couple games to play if you've already played through them. One of the biggest problems is that there is still a really silly friend system, a lack of a decent party system, and some of the features that still require external applications to use properly. Some games don't even support chat online for the competitive nature of them. A few speculative reasons I can list right now why the Virtual Console is not a high priority for the Nintendo recently is because the NES and SNES Classic Editions, which came out, as well as likely an N64 Classic Edition in the works. For now, it is a very clear indication that Nintendo is pushing new content, like applications for the smartphones and the Nintendo Switch's core audience, Smash Brothers. This leads me to believe the acknowledgement of the existence of emulation is something that they have done, and they understand the amount of money that they would get for releasing ROMs on the Switch might not be worth it in the end, as well as it would have been without this. So maybe they're really focusing on other things because they see a greater potential for profits there. One game, one price, and the user is done when you buy it that way. An online service with a monthly to yearly price will continue to bring back users along with the thought of changing games, meaning the users will have to return to play those games, and 1 month is all they get. So there's a risk, if they don't play it, that the game won't be there next time. So it allows for a more continuous stream of money, but it also increases the playtime, and this comes from the installed fan base and takes away from the competition, which is why games as a service is something a lot of creators are going towards. The aforementioned means of emulation works as well, even if it's really crappy, cheap Raspberry Pi. Currently, with YouTube, there are numerous tutorials in place to show you how to put NES games onto a 3D printed Raspberry Pi. And if it sounds too difficult, then you can always straight up just buy one off of eBay already made. Currently, the games supported by Nintendo Online are laughable, and yes, really great games are coming, like Smash Brothers. But as of right now, unless you're continuously playing games that support online, you're not going to be using online, and you're probably going to be wasting your money unless you're playing the NES games that come with it, making the service great for kids to adults who just missed out on that NES, but now are able to get into it, and we have online so they can play with other people. But don't take my word for it. I invited a fellow content creator who knows so much about Nintendo classic systems, a good friend of mine, Rerez. You go ahead and take the video out for me, close it out for me, and I really appreciate you coming on my channel to give your thoughts and opinions about this.
So, Protomario asked me what I thought about the Virtual Console not coming to the Switch, and boy, do I have thoughts. Now, let's just start off with the top layer here. Nintendo has sold a lot of Nintendo Switches, and you bought them. Everyone liked them, and there wasn't any backwards compatible games on that platform or any Virtual Console games up until this point, and they've sold more of them than the Wii U's. So Nintendo's probably in a position thinking, well, why would we bother doing any of this if no one really needs it? And they're not really that wrong, are they? See, it's not like the Virtual Console helps sell Wii U's, but it's not like you're not gonna get these older games, because as soon as you purchase their online service, which I really wish they didn't have to do, they're going to be giving you 20 NES games. Isn't that great? 30-year-old games that you get 20 of, and some of them are going to be multiplayer, but not all of them. Good, I guess. Look, folks, I think the reason why so many people are upset right now is because you, probably like me, actually want to have a lot of these games purchased and on your system and not being held by some monthly fee. Now, I would agree with you on that, but I think this is just the way of progression when it comes to these kind of services. Netflix is really popular right now, and Nintendo sort of wants to emulate that, but they also have never really done a paid service for online stuff before, and they're likely going to be pretty bad and rough at it at the start there. When you look at what Microsoft has done with the Xbox Live service, they've put in a lot of effort and time to make that service worth your money, and Sony has done the same thing. With Xbox Gold and PlayStation Plus, you're getting a ton of games. And even to this point, Nintendo has not really been able to kind of figure that out. So I'm hoping that those 20 games we get on the NES and, well, whatever other games we get on the Switch as time goes on, make up for not having a virtual console. But I just don't think it's going to work well enough because sometimes I don't want randomized games being hucked at me. Sometimes I just want one game. One that stands out. One that I really wanted for a while, but realistically, maybe that doesn't matter anymore. If you have a Wii U and a bunch of old games on there, stick with the Wii U. If you've got a Wii and a bunch of old games on that, stick with that. And if not, emulation is a pretty easy answer.